Okay folks, today we're going to learn how to take a pallet apart, and this is probably one of the hardest things that people run into because they try so many different ways, and you're going to see this method on the internet also, and I'm not here again reinventing anything, but I just wanted to show the process that I use that makes it so much easier, because so many people try it and fail, get discouraged, and then they give up on making these projects out of these pallets, which are basically free wood. You can find these anywhere. I have a trailer full that I've just picked up off of corners of
new message from Connie Brewer.
So first thing I want you to notice, if you could see it, I apologize for the sun, but in most pallets, probably 90% of them, notice how these are countersunk. All these are put together with pneumatic guns, and they also use a nail that has almost a screw-like finish to it, which really holds this piece apart. And what most people do is they take their nail puller and their nail gun, and nail gun, and their hammer, and they try to pull those nails out. And after about 10 minutes of working on one nail, they give up. Well, I would too. Or they try to beat it apart, and that works just about as well. So I'm going to show you. We're going to use these. We're still going to use these two tools, but then we're going to use the one tool that you must have in order to take a pallet apart, and that is a reciprocating saw. Now, without this thing here, you can just about forget it. It's just not going to work. It will take you forever. It will wear you out. And I prefer the corded kind. It has more power. Obviously, as long as you got electricity, you're good to go. I know some people use battery ones, which they are fine, but you're going to wind up replacing the battery after probably 3 to 4 boards and just continue that cycle. So I like the powered ones. The last one I had was a DeWalt. It lasted about 12 years, so I decided to stick with it. Why not? Nothing wrong with it. Worked great. This one was about the same price I paid 12 years ago. It was about $100, and it does the work just fine. Can take any blade. This one just happens to be a DeWalt blade, but it will take any blade that I want to put in it. We want to make sure, of course, this blade's been used, and you can't see any of the writing on it, but you want to make sure that you use a blade that says 4 nails. Because we're going to be cutting through nails, and that's where a lot of the misconception is. I want you to notice, if you can, when we get here out of the sun, see how tight that joint is right there? I mean, that sucker is tight. And if we don't do something to loosen that joint up, we're going to be spending most of our time cutting through wood to get to that nail. And that's where our nail puller and our hammer are going to come into play. I used to use a crowbar, but I found this tool here, which is a nail puller, actually works a little bit better. So I'm going to set the camera up the best I can and show you what we're going to do to open these up a little bit, and how quick and easy it is to actually take this pallet apart in about 5 to 7 minutes, at least taking the front of them off. And this is a normal pallet. You got your front side that's got most of the pieces of wood on it. Then on the back side has a few more, about the same. That's about the size of a normal pallet right there. So just stand by one, and let me get this adjusted here. All right, what we're going to do to start with, we're going to take our nail puller, and we're going to put it on the top part of the joint. Just like that. And all we're doing is open it up, and I'm going to bring the camera back around here and show you just a second. Okay. Now, a lot of them you won't be able to get to until you actually take the board off and on top of it. But that's fine. But this will give me a way to at least show you what I've done. Camera here. You can see what I have done is I've opened up that space. Okay, so now I'm not going to have that friction against my blade anymore, and as I cut through the nails, that will open up some more. And even if it doesn't, all I got to do is go in with my nail puller and just open it up a little bit so I don't have that friction. That's the key, is not cutting through the nail so much, but is not having all that friction standing against the saw blade, where it's got to cut through all that and then also cut through the nail also. So let's just see how this works real quick. So we'll put our camera back in our fancy holder, which is actually 2 pieces of wood. Well, let's give it a shot. I always do the 2 end pieces first, the 2 sides. That may just because I'm left-handed, I don't know, but it works for me, so that's what I do. Alright, in less than 30 seconds or so, we've cut off the top 2 pieces, and we're going to work our way down towards the rest. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it for just a second and let me loosen up these other boards, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I've gotten them all loosened up except for the bottom one, and I'm going to show you why I haven't done that one in just a second. Move these out of the way. You'll also notice that I split one of them, and that's going to happen. That's just part of it. If you see that it's starting to split, then stop what you're doing, go and cut one nail, that top nail, and then go back in there and get your reciprocating saw and finish the job. But for me, that's no biggie. I can use it for something else. Alright, one side. See, the looser that I have the boards, the quicker that the saw goes through it. Now, to me, the middle ones are always the hardest to do, just simply because of the angle. Alright. Now, this is the reason why I didn't do this one, because I want to take this pallet now and I want to turn it upside down or right side up, however you want to look at it, and finish the job so that I'm not running the risk of running my saw into the ground. Also, a little bit better leverage from up here. Now, like I said, I started off with a crowbar, which works fine if that's all you have. But the nail puller gives you just that little bit of extra because it's got the curved part to it here. It opens it up a little bit better. It makes it easier for that saw blade to fit in there. Another thing too is you want the saw to do the work. Okay, you're not sawing. Let the saw do all the work. You can tell when you hit a nail. And when you're done. For all of you, those that have tried it other ways, it just didn't work. I hope that works out for you. And now I have 6 pieces of wood that if I wanted to, I could actually plane it down and have a great piece of wood there, and it didn't cost me a penny. If you want to remove the nail holes, the nails, you can do that. For what I do, I just leave them in because it just adds character. But that's how you take a pallet apart without killing yourself in less than 5 minutes.